Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out of this world story from rSpace. Nothing says commitment quite like, honey, I love you, but let's spice up the marriage by letting other people season the pot. Today on rSpace, is sharing truly caring? My wife proposed an open marriage. I agreed, and she hated every second of it. I divorced her and left her with the pain. I'm turning 45 years old this year, and my wife turned 42 this year. We've been married for nearly 20 years now, after having met towards the end of my time doing a master's degree. For the most part, I would say that our marriage has been smooth. I've seen a lot of my friends have their marriages eventually hit the rocks. I know it's one of those things that happens in these modern times, a lot more than it used to, but I've been a little bit proud that hasn't been my fate. I grew up with both parents, and fortunately my teenage children also seem to get that benefit. The reason why I'm writing this, though, is that it seems like things might change. I'm not foolish enough to want a stable marriage so bad that I'd let myself get cheated on, but there are a lot of compromises that I would make to try and get things to work. Call me old-fashioned, but it is how I am, especially this far into a relationship with her. That's why it was such a big deal to me when my wife, I'm going to refer to her as Florence in this, came to me and said she wanted to propose that we open up our marriage. I've always laughed at that concept. You know, when you look at the plight of other people and you feel somewhat secure that it'll never happen to you? That's how I've always been when it comes to the concept of open relationships. Our bedroom life isn't crazy, but it is satisfying, and Florence always seems like she didn't want anything more than what I could give her. It felt good like that. I still remember that I was just sitting down and watching the game when she said she wanted to talk to me about something serious. Then she said that she wanted us to have some more excitement in our marriage. Of course, my first thought was that she wanted a vacation, or at the very worst, to explore some kinks that she might have been harboring or something. But nope, she sprung it on me that she wanted us to start seeing other people. When she put it like that, I was obviously very confused. But then she made it clear that she was asking for us to open our marriage. I didn't even know what to say in that moment. I was so confused since I never even remotely imagined that possibility. I told her I would think about it because I really couldn't give her an answer that quickly. Before she got up, she added, I'm really so tired of how things are between us. I'm so bored. Think about it well. I had a lot of problems with that, but I didn't say anything because I personally have no idea that there was a way that things were between us. Sure, as all couples that have been married for a long time are, we had found ourselves in a rhythm, but I don't think that's a bad thing. She hadn't said anything though, or given even the smallest indication that she was unhappy. But the way she said it sounded so serious to me, almost like a threat. If I said no, what exactly was going to happen? We didn't talk about it for a few days. I really did think about it. I tried to be logical and weigh the pros and cons. It'd be stupid to say that there hadn't been times throughout our lengthy marriage that I had seen a woman who was incredibly attractive to me, but the times that happened, I always respected my vows. If you don't even entertain the idea of cheating, it becomes incredibly easy the further you go. I still go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, and I take care of myself. So if I did choose to agree to her idea, it's not like it would be the worst thing to happen to me. I know I could get some action, but regardless, it's always harder for the man in an open relationship. But then I thought of the other side of the coin. The idea of other men plowing my wife was not a great thought at all. If you've ever been cheated on, I have in a previous relationship, it's almost impossible not to think of things in detail. I think it helps though, because there's no point in forgiving someone who cheats on you when you think of things in detail. Anyway, the point is that I really thought of everything. I tried my best to weigh the situation. It clearly wasn't something that I wanted, but I tried to see the bright side of it if I eventually gave in to her request. When I eventually brought it back up with her, I asked her what would happen if I said no because I really wanted to say no. I told her that I only needed her and I never had a strong indication to sleep with anyone else, and she was quiet for some time. Then she said she didn't know, but she was sure that she needed something new or different in her life. Hearing that, after having been in the safety of that marriage for so long, was heartbreaking. I mean, I know a lot of you will come at me because it is clear that there was some emotional blackmail at play, but trust me when I say that it is easier said than done. This is a woman that I've known for a large part of my life. So, even if you're disappointed in me, I eventually agreed to it. She seemed to be happy with that, but I didn't pursue any further discussion of the subject. She said that the only rule was that we didn't bring anyone home, especially because of our children. That pissed me off because the fact that we still had children at home was why I thought we shouldn't have been trying the stupid experiment in the first place. It's been a full month, and then I didn't even have a full confirmation that she's taken advantage of the new arrangement. Not knowing is part of what kills me. When she comes back, even for just a little late, I'm always busy wondering whether she's coming from another guy's place. The worst part is that I can't even push myself to get out and start dating or checking my options. I know I'll have to at some point, but for now, I really think I made a mistake. Edit. There's clearly no scarcity of harsh words for me for not just leaving her or putting my foot down when she said all of that. I agree, I messed up, but honestly, I still maintain that it is easier said than done, especially when you're not in my shoes. If you find yourself in my position, you'll definitely find out how hard it can be. The only thing I can do at this point is move forward with our new rules in our relationship, or tell her that I have changed my mind. I'll figure out which of the two appeals to me more. Listen, OP. You've spent 20 years with this woman, and her grand solution to boredom isn't a vacation, a new hobby, or even skydiving. It's inviting a guest list to the bedroom. Is there a bright side of having another man be intimate with your wife? Don't think so. Update 1. Well, I'm back, and let me cut to the chase and say that I think I could get used to this. I'm actually laughing at myself for being so repulsed initially. I guess my moment of weakness eventually led to what I can say is a good thing. I made it clear to my wife about a month and a few weeks after the whole thing started that I wasn't a big fan of the idea, and I hinted to her the fact that I hadn't made much of an attempt to try anything with anyone. She didn't suggest cutting things off since I didn't like it. She just weakly encouraged me to put myself out there, but I know she didn't mean it because she seemed pretty happy with the fact that she was eating her cake and having it. I guess at that point she was already sleeping with other people, and she was glad she didn't need to worry about me doing the same. And no, ever since this started, we've basically not slept with one another, though we sleep in the same bed. I was very irritated by the thought of sleeping with her after someone else just might have. I think my whole mindset changed the day she left her phone beside me and went to throw out the trash. I had just enough time to go through her group chat with her girlfriends, and I saw how she was describing the last guy she met and how he was horrible in bed, but the guy before that was great. Then I saw a brief mention from one of her friends about how it was great that I wasn't taking advantage of it. Seeing her describing how she slept with other men was annoying enough, but for some reason, it was being ridiculed in that chat that pissed me off the most. So at that moment, I decided that I was going to start putting myself out there right away. I downloaded Tinder, and I made plans to check out a local bar that night. Let's just say things went well for me. I was able to follow a young blonde home that night, and I had a night that I probably hadn't had since I was in college. I look my age, but I know I look good. I keep myself in shape, and I think I appeal to those younger women with daddy issues. That night, I was in a good mood. I couldn't help it, and I think Florence, my wife, noticed. She didn't say anything about it, but she kept trying to ask details about the bar. I answered the bare minimum, and I could see her mood plummeted because it seemed she had a strong suspicion of what had happened. But I had introduced a new rule after the first time she came back and tried to tell me about how her night went. To me, that was just plain stupid of her. But I made it clear that I didn't want to know anything about her and other men. I preferred to be ignorant. She agreed right away, so this was it playing against her. At this point, it has been several months since our new arrangement started, and I think I've actually really gotten into the groove with it. I get a lot of matches on the dating apps that I have, and I make it clear that I'm not looking for anything serious. It seems that it is relatively easy for me to get younger girls for casual flings. I've been around with some older women, but they tend to want things to be more serious, and I'm not down for that. So, what can I say? Things are actually turning out pretty fun for me, so I can't complain. The thing is, it seems like my wife doesn't like it at all. Maybe her dream of an open relationship was me getting no action and her getting every man that she ever dreamed of. It didn't work out quite that way for her, did it? I didn't want this in the first place, but I agreed because she wanted it. I made a stupid compromise, and it turned out to be a pretty good deal for me. I noticed that she was going out less, and she was getting very irritable whenever I'd come back home from the late night. I needed to figure out what was going on. So late one night when she was sleeping, I decided to look through her conversation with her girls. Part of me felt bad, and another part of me was very amused and satisfied. They talked about a lot of other feminine stuff, but I saw her talking about how I almost hate him when he walks in with a stupid grin. I'm not even getting the kind of men that I want, and I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Apparently, one of her friends had seen me walking in town with a younger girl. There was a pretty blurry picture there too. I could tell it was me from the outfit. My wife got very pissed off at that revelation. All her friends found the worst names to call the anonymous girl, which was also quite amusing to me. They didn't even know her, but apparently her crime was being seen with someone who was in an open marriage. All of this is why I was laughing inside when my wife came to me one day and told me that she didn't want to do the open marriage thing anymore. She said she had tried it out, but it wasn't quite her vibe, and she realized, the only person that I need is you. That was very funny to me. I let her know that I wasn't quite willing to let go of it, and she didn't like to hear that. She said that she didn't really think it was up for discussion, especially because I didn't like it before. I let her know that I saw the light since I had no other choice in the matter. I said with that, a bit of snark. Well, she didn't like that. Well, that sucks because you're going to have to make a tough decision. Either we go back to the way things were, or we're not going to be doing this marriage thing any longer. That was a bold thing to say, but I think she knows how much I value our marriage. It was emotional blackmail, just like the kind she did to me to agree to it in the first place. The thing is, I was infuriated by that. She was clearly tugging me around. She had gotten her way in the first place, and now I was the villain because I finally settled into it and started enjoying it more than her. Just like the first time, I told her that I was going to think about it, but I know that I'm done. I don't know if it was widening my horizons that made me realize that I don't need to be at her mercy, or if it is simply the fact that I got so pissed off at her attempts to manipulate me. Maybe it is both of them, but I'm going to give her what she's asking for. I know, I might wimp out when things start to explode, but I'm going to make sure I give her what she wants, and if it ends, then so be it. I've valued our marriage for too long, and then I get hit with a request to open it? How much more disrespect could there be? And after I sacrificed that and started to get into it, she hated that I was having fun. I've started seeing her differently. She just wanted to cheat on me and not feel bad about it. I'm going to start the divorce process and we're going to see how all of that goes. Obviously, your wife wasn't expecting this to be a two-way street. She probably thought she'd get to explore other options while you stayed with this loyal little lapdog. And when that didn't happen, her feelings shifted. The moment you started getting attention and having fun, it seems like the dynamic changed entirely for her. Her frustration with seeing you embracing the situation she wanted was a tough pill for her to swallow, especially when her experience with other men didn't go the way she imagined. She's not as hot as she thinks she is. Update 2. I need a pat on the back right now. I did it. I stuck to it, and I'm here to tell you all how it went. I talked to a divorce lawyer, arranged divorce papers, and talked to Florence about a week after we had that heated conversation. I told her that I had thought about everything as best I could and I had made a decision. Then I pushed the papers towards her. She didn't need to open the envelope to tell what was inside, and she was incredulous. I think she had 100% convinced herself that I didn't have the balls to do it. That's my fault because I've sort of presented myself like that through the time we've spent together. I was glad to prove her wrong this one time though. She asked if it was a joke, and I told her it wasn't. She asked, "What about us?" And I told her that there was hardly an us anymore. Things changed with the open marriage that we'd never get back. She started saying that we could keep the open marriage and she wouldn't complain anymore. She also said she didn't mean what she meant when we talked about ending the openness, but I told her that she did mean it, but she thought I'd back down like I always do. Not this time though. No ma'am. We spoke back and forth on it for like 30 minutes, and I think it finally clicked to her that I was actually serious. That's when the waterworks started, so I left the room and went to sit on the porch. She came to try and beg one more time, but I didn't really want any of it, so she left me without saying a word. She made the divorce process as stressful as she could. She didn't sign the papers until the very end, and then, when it came to actually negotiating terms, she was just trying to hurt me every chance that she got. Imagine saying that she wanted my single signed vinyl record, but none of the other ones. It was an absolute relief when things ended. I have to pay alimony, which sucks, and her custody of the children is 50-50, but they're old enough for it not to matter too much to me. They took it okay for the most part. I know it still hurts her, but she tries and acts tough through it all any time that we see each other. One of my daughters said that they heard her crying when they were at her new place. It felt good hearing that, but I didn't let it show. It also didn't help when I accidentally sent her a cute selfie I took with a cute bartender. I deleted it within a few minutes, but only when I was sure she saw it. I won't say I have zero regrets, but the ones that I do have, I'm learning to live with. I think that marriage has served its purpose in my life, so I'm moving on to better things now. The waterworks, the manipulative divorce terms, and her trying to hold on to little things like your vinyl record all seem that she's still trying to control the narrative, but you stuck with it. That accidental selfie with the bartender was savage, but we're here for it. Here's to better things ahead. Sounds like you're in a much better place now. Keep moving forward, OP. What do you make of this? Thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time.